Hey, it's Benjamin Gray from Roleplay Retcon, by the way, just in case this was in a big list of downloads and you're not looking at your phone right now. Our next big multi-episode remake is of The Longest Yard, specifically the 2005 Adam Sandler remake that has a 31% on Rotten Tomatoes. So we're remaking a remake. Jinsey, Alex, and I are not super qualified to GM a sports story because we don't follow sports, but I do like a good sports movie, weirdly. So we brought in a ringer. Grant Nordine, the co-creator, co-host, and often titular game master of the podcast Game Master Monday. Game Master Monday is an anthology podcast that has a new cast and a new game every episode. Though like us, they'll sometimes spin off and do a big mini-series like their upcoming Hell Whalers, which is exactly what it sounds like. The cast of Roleplay Retcon has been on Game Master Monday several times. You can catch some of us flying solo in a few episodes, along with cast members from around the TTRPG world, or you can catch all three of us in the Search for Dr. Seuss, a Call of Cthulhu actual play based on a strange, obscure, hybrid documentary and movie from the 90s. Jinsey's in a episode called Fortune Favors Fangs, where they're in a lesbian vampire throuple. And I'm in an episode called Cooking Up Disaster, where we play a game that's based on Kitchen Nightmares, a show that I've seen every episode of at least twice. So before we get into The Longest Yard, I thought I'd give you a chance to meet Grant with a recent episode of Game Master Monday in which a solid cast joins Grant for a session of Rafenheim by Tig Lyons. And we'll see you next week for The Longest Yard Rookie Camp. All right.
Welcome to Game Master Monday, the podcast where we play a new one-shot in a new system with a new cast every episode. I'm your Game Master Grant, and this week we are playing Rafenheim by Tig Lyons, and my players are...
Destiny or Desi, she, her. I will be playing Florence Blackthistle, also she, her, and her archetype is the Elder.
Hi, my name is Rosalie. Please feel free to call me Rosie or any other shortened version thereof for short. I use more than one now. Whatever. I love a nickname. I will be playing Abigail Oakhollow, the romantic, but I kind of reinterpreted the meaning of romantic here, so yeah.
The era romantic.
Yes, romanticize your life. I use she, her pronouns. My character does as well.
Hi, I'm Sadie Pasley. I will be playing Josiah Hawksworth. I use she, they pronouns. My character uses she, her pronouns.
Fantastic. Let me tell you about the game we're playing here tonight. This is Rafenheim. It is a TTRPG inspired by Gothic-era novels. Today, our players have 3 stats. They are curious, courteous, and courageous. Whenever we encounter something mysterious or something where we don't know what's going to happen to us, you will roll anywhere from 1 to 3 d6s. In this game, 11s and higher are successes, 4 to 10s are mixed successes, and anything below 4 will be noticed by the crows. The crows you would do well to mind while you're here. But before we get into any of that, are you all excited?
No. Always. Oh, come
I'm
on,
scared,
now.
but in a good way.
Yeah, like
Okay,
like
yeah,
that,
I'm
that
excited. I'm so
anticipation,
excited.
like nervous-sided.
It's taken like
Nervous-sided.
50
Ooh,
plus
I love
episodes for someone to finally say no to that question. And of course it was Sadie.
Sorry, I'm feeling a little spicy.
Good. Let's begin. In far-off land of slate-black sky, the Countess in her castle died. 11 days since her last time within the walls of Rafenheim. Corvina's death a mystery, though few would call it tragedy. In life her love was e'er reserved for her beloved black-winged birds. In every chamber, room, and hall of Rafenheim you'll hear the call. We open on a towering stone manor, a full moon hanging confidently in the sky, illuminating a cobblestone path to the building's front gates. The closer you get to the manor, the more you see the now loose crows that are omnipresent on the ground. But you three are no strangers to Rafenheim. Some of you visitors, some of you mainstays, but all of you familiar. 11 days ago, the Countess Corvina Rafenheim suddenly and mysteriously died. You all attended her funeral, you all wept at her wake, and now you've been summoned back to Rafenheim Manor by Corvina's father, Murder Rafenheim. Everyone's making faces at me.
I love that so much.
We see your carriages pull up to the front of the estate. Destiny, tell me about Florence.
Florence, I think, doesn't come by carriage, or by whatever, because she lives on the ground. She comes from a long line of groundskeepers from Rafenheim, so she's quite familiar, more so with the grounds than the actual manor. She is, like I said, she's the elder, so she's a bit on the older side, but I feel like she has probably been 65 to 70 for about maybe 2 decades now, so you really don't really know her age. She once married directly into the family, but her widow had mysteriously passed away as well. So I guess she walks up into the manor dressed in kind of, I guess, whatever you can imagine what Gothic era gardening clothes would look like. Kind of her hands are a bit covered in soil. She always has like pruning shears on her. But yeah, that's a little bit about Florence.
Wonderful. Florence, you are entering the foyer of Rafenheim Manor, and you see someone you're very familiar with. This is the butler, Charles. His clothes are looking ragged. His eyes are very sunk in. It looks like he hasn't been sleeping well lately, but he is holding the door open for you and gesturing weakly for you to enter the foyer.
Oh, my dear, it's good to see you.
I wish I could say the same, Florence.
I mean, I would ask what's the matter, but it's clear it's pretty ominous around here.
Yeah, things have been very ill and bad in the manor lately. Master of the house has been beside himself. Not sure what the meeting is about, but he seemed frantic about it.
Quite. There's nothing more that you know than what was in the invite from here.
Right. I believe we're waiting on 2 others to attend, but he summoned you, 2 guests, and all of the servants, so I'm not sure what's happening, if we're being dismissed or what, but I don't like the feelings I've been feeling lately. Anyway, allow you to take your place among the other riffraff here. Just find a spot for yourself, and I'm sure we'll begin shortly.
Florence would like to take a spot near the nearest plant.
Fantastic. You take a spot near the nearest potted plant. It's not doing so hot. It looks like it hasn't been taken care of in, about 11 days or so. The door opens again, and we see someone a little bit more related to the family. Rosie, tell me about Abigail.
Related might be a little bit of a stretch, but I mean close enough. I was here, probably 8 or so years ago, maybe. I remember it just in vague pictures, not a lot of details anymore because I was quite young, but my name is Abigail Okalo. Corvina is my great aunt, a couple times removed, I think. I was able to visit here once when I was a kid, but not since then, and it's unfortunate that it happened again under these circumstances. I always wanted to have the chance, and it's just sad that it had to wait until now.
The door, I would say, swings open, but given Charles's current physical state, more like creaks open for you very slowly. And he's like His arm is shaking as he holds the door open for you.
Oh no, you don't have to. You see, Abigail.
I do. This is my job.
Abigail is dressed quite nicely. Her clothes look like they did just come off the rack or something like that. They don't quite fit her. She's obviously not very comfortable in these dark colors, and her gloves and whatever little fascinator veil that she has to wear for these funerary rites or what have you. She doesn't carry herself the most confidently, but she definitely fits more among the actual family rather than, although aren't they, I mean, if the Crows were her family, I mean, I think everybody else that was here in the manor would be too, right? But,
Not everyone. This branch of the Ravenheim family was very close-knit, we'll say. It was just the master of the house and his daughter, and of course the birds. And gestures, all these crows, hanging on top of the chandeliers, on top of the banisters of the stairs.
They're inside too. Okay.
They are everywhere. Since Corvina's passing, they have escaped or been released or something, and there's all around now.
I don't like that.
You and me both, sister. Yes, so Master Murder has called us all here. Lovely to see you again. I'm sorry for such dour circumstances.
We're all here together.
For now, at least. Yes, you may feel free to take any place in the foyer. We're just awaiting one last guest.
I just kind of stand awkwardly next to if there's a water pitcher or something.
There's a servant carrying around a tray, a water pitcher tray.
Whatever the Victorian equivalent of standing next to the punch bowl is.
Yeah, very much so. It's just this teenage-looking kid is holding what's it called, a cloister thing underneath the lid. You know what I mean? And he just has a pitcher of water, but the water doesn't look like it's been purified or anything. This is what they had around. The door opens one last time, and we see Josiah Hawksworth. Sadie, tell me about Josiah.
Yes, Josiah steps out of a dark carriage and is dressed head to toe in ostentatious black mourning clothes, a long dark veil, thick enough that you can't even see her face, and she steps slowly forward to the door.
Once again, just a decrepit man, someone who should have been taken care of by now, weakly holding the door open for you, head dipping down, not out of respect or reverence, but more out of when dads fold their arms in an armchair watching the news. It's that kind of head nod going on.
Without even glancing at the man, she says, "Butler Charles."
Mistress Josiah, welcome back to Ravenheim Manor. Sorry to call you again after you just made the journey to visit a mere week and a half ago, but we appreciate your presence.
Noted. Thank you. And she walks through.
He turns to a crow and goes, "She creeps me out." Honestly. The three of you are now in the foyer of the manor. You see the servants. You see the state that the manor is in. 11 days ago, this was very much so a somber affair, but a celebration of Corvina's life. There were portraits of her hanging up, a few of her favorite belongings scattered around, wonderful stories told about her, but now a lot of those things have gone. Things are out of place, torn up. Birds everywhere, but the birds don't seem to be leaving anything behind. You don't see feathers, you don't see insects, you don't see that manner of thing. It just looks like, if you didn't know any better, you'd feel like Ravenheim may have been abandoned decades ago, but it's only been 11 days. At the top of an elaborate staircase in the manor, a man appears. He is tall, gangly, and entirely different from when you last saw him 11 days ago. Where once you saw elegance and regality, you now see the ravages of time and decay. His fingernails have grown out to an untamable length, his beard white and patchy. He uses the rails to uphold himself, and he calls down to the lot of you. Friends and family of Rafenheim Manor, these last tragic days have been my slow undoing. My precious child, Corvina, unfairly taken from us in her youth. I have spent every day pacing these halls looking for answers from on high, and every night suffering in agony knowing she will not be here when I wake. However, when I was finally able to dream, I saw her, reaching out to me, demanding closure and revenge. I have summoned you all here to learn the truth. Somebody who was in this manor robbed me of my Corvina, and I will repay that theft with blood. I know in my soul that it was one of you, or one of my wretched servants, who did the deed. Perhaps in communion with each other, even. If one of you three, Florence, Abigail, or Josiah, confess now, I will ensure a quick and painless death. A final chance at redemption for your damned souls. What say you?
Florence audibly gasps, like, and just drops the plant they were checking in on.
Charles looks over, knowing he should clean that up, and just kind of goes, "What's the point?"
I look horrified.
I see guilt on your face, Abigail.
What? No, I wasn't even... Why would I do that?
Why, indeed.
I barely got to know her.
And yet here you are, having encountered her within the time frame, and knowing full well that you could come back to the funeral. Why, indeed.
Child, rest easy. It appears obvious that murder has not been sleeping well and should see the physician.
Gone mad, you think I have? It's true. I won't deny it, I have gone mad. I've gone mad with passion and wanting to know what happened to my daughter, but I've also gone furious. In fact, if you'll turn behind you, and you'll see a different servant slam the door shut, you hear a bunch of locking sounds all across the foyer, you don't see who's doing them, all the crows start squawking all at once, and he announces, "Okay, so you're all denying that you're the murderer. Fine, I accept. But none of you are going to leave this place until I know who did. You have until sunrise to either confess or bring the murderer to me for my justice. Fail to do so, and every living soul in this manor will be murdered by me. You'll be crushed, you'll be banished to the underworld, and I will think nothing of you ever again. Do we understand?"
Do you have any evidence it's one of us?
Evidence is not my responsibility. I have done the thinking and the research, and what better evidence than the truth? You uncover it, Florence, or you die. That's simple.
So, everyone here, including yourself, is a suspect?
I see no point in living if I can't have Corvina. If everyone in this manor dies, I die with them. I have nothing to lose.
I want to look at the other servants, seeing as I'm probably most familiar with. I've probably seen Abigail and I've for sure seen Josiah in the gardens, but I'm definitely more familiar with the servants. I just want to glance at what their general demeanors are.
Yeah, a few varying ones. Charles looks apathetic. He has a very "this might as well happen to me" face. He hasn't been doing so hot.
Oh, Charles. He needs a vacation.
The younger ones definitely scared out of their mind. Some of the older ones are just rolling their eyes and going about their business. Murder must be having one of his fits. the servants in general, it depends on who it is, but most notably Charles just seems apathetic to the whole thing.
I walk right up to Murder. I have not spoken out of turn. Out of respect and affection for your daughter. However, this farce is too much, too demeaning for a man of your station. So please, if you are going to subject us to this ridiculous situation, at least call for the cook and show us some of that Ravenheim hospitality.
The call for the cook. The cook hasn't been seen in days. The cook is also a suspect. You'll have to find the
we're
cook.
locked in here, and the suspect might be out there.
No. Based on the records I've read and the notes I've collected and the histories of this matter, I've narrowed it down to the servants who stand here today and you 3.
But you said the cook is also a suspect.
The cook is somewhere in here. I just do not know where.
Have you tried the kitchen?
No, I didn't think it. Of course I tried the kitchen, Florence. Been summoning the cook, but to no avail.
Perhaps we should try the kitchens first.
At least call for someone who knows how to make a good cup of tea.
You have the permission to fully explore the grounds and do whatever you deem fit to find my sweet Corvina's killer. But I warn you, Ravenheim has taken a lot of different twists and turns since you last visited. Finding the rooms you look for may not be as simple as you're anticipating. And he turns around and walks back.
Obviously, you two did not murder Corvina. And obviously, I did not either. I don't even think that she was murdered. So, we'd better make the best of our situation until we can find an exit.
What do you mean you don't believe she
Murder?
wasn't murdered?
Exactly what I said.
Well, it doesn't hurt to investigate then if we can find exonerating evidence for everyone. I mean, that's going to be even better.
And risk murder's wrath. I did not think that you were that daft.
It's not daft. It's just, if she wasn't murdered, then if we have undeniable proof, murder has to listen. If there's no murder...
Have you ever heard of the principle of proving false a negative?
I
It
know,
is quite difficult.
but alibis.
Where were you the night she was taken from us?
I was at home reading.
And you, Abigail?
I was also at home reading.
What else is there to do?
Interesting.
We were reading different things, though, okay?
I too was at home reading.
Airtight.
So we were all at home reading. Okay, what were you reading? Because I was reading letters. Also writing them. Were you writing?
No, I was reading a book on gardening, and I was reading to the plants, of course.
Oh, I heard that they might grow better if you talk to them. Is that
Yes.
true?
That is factual,
Oh,
yes.
wonderful.
Clearly they haven't been reading the plants in here.
Miss Josiah, what were you reading?
A lady's novel. And she...
Good thing
You
she's
can
got
tell-
that veil on.
Right. You can tell despite...
The blush is coming through that dark veil.
Despite the veil, you can see the hesitation to answer that question.
Well, even if the cook's not in the kitchen, maybe I can make us some tea?
That would be lovely, dear.
And a cup for Charles as well.
Charles is kind of like slumbers past you as he starts like walking towards the staircase, and he turns around and goes, "No one's been talking to the plants. Who knows what happened to the girl?"
Charles? What were you reading when Corvina died?
"Madam, I can't read."
Oh. I'm sorry.
I was going about my usual duties.
Do you want to learn to read?
He like looks at the locked door and goes, "It's not my highest priority right now, if I'm being honest.
We can work on it later.
If later comes,
It will.
I guess that's up to you three.
To the kitchens.
I wish you the best of luck. Manners gotten weird." So, you're going to leave the foyer?
Yes. To the kitchens.
Well, Rosie, I'm going to give you the pleasure of the first official roll of the game. Not for a particular stat. This is something I've homebrewed for this particular one-shot. But I just need you to roll 2d6 for me.
Okay. Wow. I got 2 and a 6 for a total of 8.
A total of 8. Your intention is to go to the kitchen. You open the door you believe leads to the hallway that will go towards the kitchen, or at least the dining hall. But with an 8, you enter, as soon as you open the door, Corvina's bedroom.
Okay. There's usually a hallway. And then the dining hall and then the kitchens are through another door there.
Correct, you are. The manor, as Charles said, has gotten weird.
Yeah, that's pretty weird. Florence, Josiah?
Yes, dear.
This was her room, wasn't it?
And
Yes.
this is where the dining hall and kitchen were, but yes, we are currently oddly standing in her room.
Huh.
You see a tiny crow hop up to you and just caw and then hop away. So, Corvina's bedroom. It still smells like her in here. The last remaining traces of her powerful yet delicate aura. The room has not been touched since her passing. The various landings and cages used to keep her beloved birds stand empty. The morning curtains remain drawn, the bed remains unmade, and her slippers are still at the side of her bed. Even the dust that one would expect to accumulate after a week and a half without cleaning seems to have respected the barrier between life and death in this room. But you haven't.
I mean, she can't be mad for us looking to spare our lives. She wouldn't want us to be murdered by murder, right?
You would be surprised.
I give Josiah just a look of, what does that mean? But I don't say anything.
A joke, dear.
Oh, okay.
To calm the nerves.
Okay.
Yes, we absolutely should take a look while we're here. Besides, I would like to see about a memento to remember her by.
In that case, you may make a curious roll for me.
You know who else collects mementos? Murderers.
That is a 3 and a 4 for a 7.
A 7. Okay, so that's a mixed success in this room. You start looking in her dressers, you start looking for anything that might trigger a memory for you, maybe have some sort of keepsake, but the more you look through her nightstand, her closets, under the bed, in the bed, anything just to find something to remember Corvina by, you don't find anything. And as you're looking for this thing, a small crow lands on your shoulder, Josiah, and starts whispering in your ear, and certainly it's a crow. It can't speak our language. As far as you know, it's just cawing in your ear. But the word guilty keeps coming into your mind, making you recollect previous interactions with Corvina. Is there something that Josiah regrets in their long history in knowing Corvina?
Josiah and Corvina had a long friendship, and there were certain feelings that were unsure, that were unstated, and Josiah regrets that.
That's all you can think of as this crow sits on your shoulder and as you look around in the room. Florence, Abigail, anything you want to look for in here?
Florence, yet again, wants to go towards, if the room is truly the way it has been left and like no dust, it kind of just been there, Corvina would help Florence in the gardens, would prune, would pick flowers, and so Florence would like to see if any of those flowers that they had recently tended to together are still in the room.
Sure, you can also make a curious check.
Oof, that's a 3.
A 3. 2 crows on your shoulders. The minute you start even thinking about flowers, they just like appear on you. You don't even hear their wings flap. You don't feel them land. You just feel beaks inside of your ears. And again, the same word, guilty, over and over and over again. Is there an action you shouldn't have taken? A word you wish you could have said? What haunts you now that you know you'll never see Corvina again?
Florence now feels this sense of you should have been there more for Corvina. You were one of the few women in the household that maybe Corvina had trusted and confided with during your tenure here, so maybe you could have let her bet her.
The crows stop chattering in your ear and just like take a seat on your shoulders. It's kind of like hide their legs into the little crow bodies and like nest on top of you for a moment. Abigail, I will say, you see the crows land on your friend's shoulders and you see their demeanors shift. So is there anything you want to do now that you see this?
Abigail is very, very unnerved by the crows even before Corvina's death, and seeing this behavior, I think she's gonna pack that up in a little box and try to ignore it. I'm gonna be, at this moment, she's like, I can't deal with this right now. She wants to look for any sort of like diary or letters, if there's any correspondence, writing, anything she can find in here. She is choosing to attempt to ignore this, whether it's working or not, unclear.
Unclear, so why don't we make it a courageous roll?
Oh, I'm bad at that. Okay.
Well, you chose to ignore the crows that you're afraid of.
Yeah, well, I did that on purpose. It's in character. That's a 3.
A 3. You, despite your best efforts, just take a single step in searching for a letter and are greeted by a crow that's like sitting on your shoulder. You hear the cawing of it, and it's unnerving and it's not natural, but your body can't seem to react or move to it. And the word guilty over and over in your young mind. Is there anything that Abigail regrets with her interactions in history with Corvina?
The thing is, she didn't have a lot of interactions. She's about somewhere between 18 and 20 at the point where young women of this era would be starting to be considered adults, and she met Corvina once as a child and really just idolized her idea of her. And so I think her regret was that she was so busy with whatever it was she was doing that in these last few years of her teenage years, she didn't take the time to come by and visit and actually get to know this person that she thought was so beautiful and powerful and poised when she was a child. And now she can't ask her for the advice she was hoping to seek.
The crows that were on all of your shoulders all at the same time flutter off of your shoulders, and they land on Corvina's bed, and they position themselves in a way where Florence, you would recognize, was Corvina's sleeping position. They use their bodies to recreate that image, and the crow that would be where her head would typically lay turns its head and just stares the three of you down.
That is quite unsettling. Do you see what the crows are doing?
I do, and I am also very unsettled.
I think they're trying to help us. I'd like to think they are trying to help us, even how unnerving all of this is.
This would be a good point in the game for me to talk about your character playbook's abilities. All of you have an option to find ways to roll additional dice or exert your authority in this game. So all of you have a specific skill you've been assigned, and you also have 3 other subcategories you can add to your dice rolls. If I ever ask you to make a curious roll, you can tilt the scales in your favor, add another d6 to that roll by doing a scheme action, coming up with a dastardly plan to satiate your curiosity. If you choose to be courteous, you can pine. You've read Wuthering Heights, I'm sure. You've all taken a high school English course. You know what pining feels like. You can use that action to add a d6 to your courteous. And if you want to be extra courageous, you can go full Mr. Darcy and brood to add an extra d6 to your rolls. So those are just some extra benefits you have whenever you want to do something in this game. In your case, Florence, I might want to persuade you to use your reminisce ability.
I was just about, so my reminisce ability is I can ask the estate 2 questions about the current situation, and the estate will need to answer one of them. When I make this move, I kind of explain how my past experience here gave me the answer. So seeing these crows lay in a human way, I guess, out loud I think Abigail and Josiah think I'm talking to them, but really I'm talking to the estate. I ask, what are the crows trying to tell us? Why is this the first room we're in?
Now, I, being the estate, to choose which question I answer. And I will answer, why are the crows doing this? And the estate, speaking through your mind's ear, gives you the voice of Corvina in your head all of those mornings you came in to wake her up. And it's the voice of her going, just 15 more minutes, Florence. I just need 15 more minutes. Please, I come back later. I just need a little bit more sleep. I was having the most wonderful dream.
I think we must wait here 15 more minutes to find the answer of what we seek.
Does it maybe, we're just sitting here awkwardly waiting for these 15 minutes, does it maybe mean that whatever happened while she was asleep?
Josiah walks out of the door.
Hey!
Walks out of the room.
Josiah, roll 2d6 for me.
6 and 4, 10.
A 10. As you open the door, this whole room goes dark. All 3 of you see this happen. And then when the lights come on and you exit the door, you're no longer back in the foyer as you were anticipating, but you arrive in the garden.
Oh.
This would have been convenient most days, so I don't have to walk everywhere.
Actually, this is probably a good place to find an exit.
Josiah, if we escape, the staff are still going to be in danger, right?
Surely murder will be past his fit by the morning.
I doubt it. I can't leave them.
I don't think this is a normal fit. Most people's nails don't grow into talons in 11 days.
Well, I'm not going to get into fisticuffs trying to get you to come with me. So I will be trying to find an exit.
Well, then let me tell you about the garden. This is a place favored by Corvina and Florence, although nobody has tended to this once luminous garden in the days since Corvina's passing. Dying and dried up flowers rest inside of rotting bushes, twigs and thorns appearing where lilacs and daisies once thrived. In the center of the garden is a fountain modeled after the birth of Venus. Crows are perched on the bushes and are spitting water into the fountain as if they were the cherubs greeting the goddess.
Josiah walks towards the edge of the garden and is looking for an exit, but is also trying to keep an eye out for a friend of hers.
Ah, I see. Okay. Well, why don't you tell me about that friend of yours? So this would be your confide ability, if I'm
Right.
understanding
Yes.
correctly. So,
Yes, correct.
So I can give you two options here, Sadie. You can either invent a friendly groundskeeper, a local villager, or a castle staff, or I can provide one for you.
Let's go with the castle accountant.
Fantastic. The castle accountant is sitting near the fountain, eating together a cobbled together sandwich out of whatever ingredients he could find around the estate, and he's just kind of like looking longingly into it and just, looks forlorn.
Murder state is not ideal.
No, and I think it's especially not ideal because I think he means it this time.
I'm surprised you haven't found an escape already. Were you waiting for me?
I knew you were coming, yes. And that's why I haven't been looking for an escape. Because I wanted to make sure you would be safe.
You shouldn't have, and I mean that.
Given what we learned today, yeah, I agree with that. I probably shouldn't have done that.
No matter. We should look for an escape.
I need to tell you, Josiah, that looking for an escape in the manner as it stands now is entirely fruitless. No door leads to an exit anymore.
So you lied. You have been looking for an escape.
Even if I could find one, there was just no way to get there. Doors that once led to things that make sense no longer do. I opened the door to the kitchen and wound up on the balcony the other day. It's a miracle I can have this sandwich.
I see.
I will tell you, though, I do want to help you and offer some advice and insight to the goings-on in the manor. There is more than Corvina's death plaguing Murder's mind, and I think this is what sent him over the edge. The estate is holding a lot of mystery, and there's no telling what order or what room you'll be in at any point, but you need to know that there is something else going on with Corvina and Murder specifically.
I see.
You'll need to find my office. There's more information in there. But I'm worried about the information in there specifically for your sake. So be careful and be stealthy.
Of course. Will you be coming with us?
Oh no, I have learned to stop wandering the halls. I am simply going to be at my favorite spot in the entire estate, and hope you all crack this. Because if you don't, I will die.
Do keep an eye out for an escape, and don't tell anyone I told you this, but if you do find an escape, take it. Don't wait for us.
If one appears, I'll take it.
Right then.
Good luck.
To you as well. And I walk back over to the others.
While that was going on, I'm assuming we didn't really hear any of that conversation.
Yeah.
Good. I quietly lean over to Abigail. What do you feel about Josiah?
You know what? This is perfect because I was planning on declaring something. So if we could, in fact, declare this, time this, and I perhaps say it loud enough that Josiah may also hear it, I would like to make a declaration.
Sure, yeah, you are more than welcome to. You can use these.
This is a capital D declaration because my move as the romantic is I get to declare. I may state my true feelings about someone or something. So, I think she's very unnerving, and I don't think she's the kindest person. But I think that we need Josiah's help because she knows more about who Corvina really was.
She definitely knows something she's not telling us.
Well, it doesn't matter if she tells us those things. That can be between her and the lady of the house, but I think that her knowledge of who Corvina really was is going to be an asset to getting us out of this situation, and I know she wants to escape, and that makes her look even guiltier, but I don't want to think that she would be the murderer, you know? So, if you choose to help me, you get a +1 to your rolls that you make in order to help me solve this murder.
You're so right. I totally feel what you are feeling. I mean, Josiah was her nearest, dearest friend. It'd be tragic if she had any involvement.
I think she must have something more underneath that dark and brooding surface. I don't know.
Josiah, you return to the group. And I'll let you decide if you heard that capital D declaration or not.
I can make more.
I think she did hear it. She does not let on, though. Good. You two have stayed and not wandered off. Currently, we should seek out the accountant's office. I spoke with him, and we may find information there.
We should, are there any plants here that shouldn't be consumed by humans, Florence?
Probably. Not all plants are tasty.
I'll answer that question for you, Florence. The Wraithenheims, despite their outwardly macabre appearance, have not planted anything poisonous or lecherous or anything that could physically hurt you. You know, no poison ivy, no roses, nothing like that. But yeah, to your point, yeah, maybe don't go around eating dead plants, as everything in the garden has currently expired.
I haven't been doing a great job. Clearly, there's been...
Okay, just like if there was a little patch of belladonna, we could maybe check if somebody picked any. That's what I was getting at.
Is there any?
You can check the bushes if you want.
I would like to check what is still surviving, or if anything's out of place. Even though it is all dead, I feel like Florence would know where everything is and what is planted where.
I'll let you decide what you want to roll for this one, as I think all three could apply in some capacity. How is Florence approaching this?
I think I would say maybe pining, because I get an extra +1 to a roll.
Sure. So how would you choose to pine for these flowers while you make your courteous roll as you delicately sift through these these poor plants?
Yeah, Florence gets on her knees and just like, oh, how I longed for you to be beautiful and growing, but the state, the mana, the death, it becomes me. I just couldn't tend to it. I bring shame to my family.
Beautiful. Go ahead and roll your extra d6 for your courteous.
Okay. 13.
13 of smashing success. Searching through the bushes, you're looking for anything that could have been murderous, traitorous, any kind of plant that would have been led to murder, something out of place, but the only thing out of place are the plants themselves. Oh, also the body.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me?
As you look
what?
around in the bushes, you find the body of one of the maids of the house. Her face is missing, and the back of her gown was torn by something stronger than a rose.
I promise you this is not normal in my grounds.
Of course not.
Contrary to, I read somewhere that contrary to like what people who haven't researched it might think, bodies don't actually make for good garden fertilizer. Or at least not human ones. Fish ones.
I'll confirm that the area where you find the body hiding in the bushes is more dead than the rest of the bushes.
So yeah, no, that's...
Is there anything else about the body that's of
She
note?
doesn't have her face, but Josiah, can you tell, was this maybe a personal maid of Corvina's or somebody particularly close to her, you think?
Can I tell?
Make a courteous roll.
Yes. Let's see. That's a 1.
Maybe she's new.
Oh,
But
no!
as you think about who this could be, the crows from the fountain become aware of what you're doing, and they start fluttering over to the body. They are corvids, after all, and rotting flesh is kind of their favorite.
No.
Josiah pulls off her mourning veil and uses it to shakes it at them to try to scare them off.
Choosing to
Go.
interact with the crows and mess with them, eh? You do so. You do so.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what's your courteous number for me? A 1? So with your courteous die being a 1, you take the veil off, you unceremoniously brush the crows off. Narratively speaking, at least for a little while, your demeanor, your politeness, your patience wears thin. Being courteous, at least for the next little while, might be impossible for you. You can drop your courteous down to a 0 until I tell you to put it back.
You know what? That tracks.
Oh my god.
The crows fly off, but you see something in one of their beaks. You can't tell what it is, but it looks cube-shaped.
Oh, it's the D6.
It's a block of cheese.
Damn birds.
Dang birds stole my D6.
Oh, we don't know who she was.
Let's keep going.
So
And
something.
we'll alert.
I'm writing down in a little notebook in canon. Something took her face and attacked her from the back. Claws? The question mark?
Let's go find the accountant's office and alert one of the staff.
Josiah, may I have that veil?
Why?
I kind of just reach out and like, if not offered it, I will take out a handkerchief and I want to leave it over this woman's face.
I think Josiah sees you glance over at the woman's face and recognizes this gesture and hands you her veil.
Yeah, just a little bit of respect. I don't think any of us... Florence might actually be equipped to actually dig a hole, but I don't know that Josiah and I are, so we'll do this for now.
Time is of the essence.
It's not
We don't have
Josiah's job. Josiah doesn't have
Florence
a job.
is very buff for an old woman. She's a groundskeeper, okay?
So do we go on to the accountant's office? Or attempt to?
Yeah, I guess how would we, with us being in an seemingly open area, I guess we head towards another area that is door-like.
We go through an archway towards a gazebo in the distance.
Yeah, you got it.
Sure,
Florence,
why
roll
not?
2d6 for me.
Ooh. that would be a 9.
Welcome to a hallway. A long, elaborate hallway built to honor the memory of the esteemed heads of house. Portraits are commissioned to be hung in this perfectly unkept room. This is what you'd been told when given the initial tour of this place when you first came to the manor. That this would be a place to honor the memory of those who came before. Now, you see it's in disarray. Wine splattered on the walls, paintings torn with a knife or perhaps claws. Anger claimed this room and claimed it recently. And of all the rooms you've been in so far, this room has the most crows in it. They hide in the paintings, their beady eyes moving as you walk down the hallway.
I've always hated this room, even in the best of condition. So, gauche.
Do you think this was whoever... I mean, we know that Corvina might not have been murdered, but do you think this was either her murderer or could it have been Corvina?
No. I will not entertain such foolishness.
I mean, it's quite foolish that we're in a maze of sorts in this house. Now, I feel like anything's possible.
I mean slander of Corvina's character.
Do any of these look more targeted than the others? Any of these look more destroyed than the others?
I'll give it to you for free, even. Here's some names on the paintings. I'm not going to make you spend a die to see what's right in front of you. They're paintings. Some names as you wander down the hallway. You see names like Matthew, Nathaniel, Mary, John, Sheridan, Eaton, Murder, and then Corvina. But at the very end, an empty frame, a portrait devoid of art, but with a nameplate already installed, and installed recently it appears, reading the name Abigail Ocallo.
I just started writing in my notebook empty frame for quote, and then you said the name, and I'm like, I don't want to write that down.
In addition, there is one nameplate out of all of them that you cannot make out. It looks tarnished and worn. It's one of the older ones. And that's what's in this room, folks.
I'm much more distant than should allot for this, and I didn't actually know her that well. I mean, I thought I knew a version of her, and did Corvina know this was going to happen? Perhaps I shall, could I just kind of brood on this just in case I have to be courageous in the next foreseeable future?
I'm cool with that, yeah.
As I stand here staring at this empty frame.
Yeah, brood. Give me a brood and then you can add one to a courageous roll.
Yeah. Well, my understanding was you could take the brood action to just hang on to a +1 bonus for a roll.
You can also do that.
Yeah. I'll brood on this as I stand here staring at this empty frame, distressed about its existence.
How does Abigail brood?
I think literally it's what I'm doing right now. She stands there unusually quiet and just like not really even looking at the nameplate or this empty frame, just kind of like squinting down at her toes, just fingers tapping her temples, just shaking her head.
While you stare at your toes, you see a crow appear by your feet.
What?
It caws at you.
I will kind of crouch down to the floor to be more on level with it.
Ooh, here's a good spot for your courageous roll.
Yeah, no, I don't like these things. I wrote that down before we even played. I don't like the crows. Ba-bam. Okay.
And your game master thanks you for the ammunition.
3 + 3 is a 6.
A 6, a mixed success. So the crow kind of like bites at your toes a little bit, but it seems to be wanting you to follow it.
I'll follow it. Unenthusiastically.
He walks you all the way down to that nameplate that was scratched up and just starts like staring at the painting above it.
I will also stare at the painting above it.
This is a painting of an older gentleman. Bears a resemblance to murder, but maybe not a paternal one. Maybe more like an uncle or a long-lost brother or something. But the most notable thing about him is he's got 12 fingers.
Does Florence recognize?
Florence is old.
Florence is old and has been around. The family has been around a long time.
I'll give you two options.
Okay.
You can use your ability, or you can make a courteous roll.
I'm gonna make a courteous roll because that's my top trait.
Love it.
That is a 12.
A whopping success. No harm done to you. You are staring at it, and a memory does come back to you. You've been with the family for a long time. You were there when Corvina was born and brought back to the manor. You remember this, but maybe this particular memory was repressed. There was another gentleman who lived in the manor with Murder, and Murder's wife at the time, but they went missing one day. And this person bears a striking resemblance to that person if they were allowed to age.
This portrait, I vaguely remember this person when, it was so long ago it could be a made-up memory, but a younger version of this 12-fingered being was there when Corvina was born.
How many generations back does this seem to be if we're like looking down the line of paintings?
Solid question. This person is listed quite a bit ahead of Murder, but Florence also remembers them being alive at the same time as Murder.
Yeah, that's curious.
Almost to imply a family bush, or more, as opposed to a family tree, if you will. It just seems like the Rafenheims have been playing it fast and loose with who gets to be the heir.
We have a lot of gay people, it's fine. I feel like this is all we're gonna get out of this portrait hall.
Agreed. Let's keep moving.
Accounting, come on, abacus.
Roll 2d6 first for me.
Pow. 7.
When you open this door, you wind up in the library. The library, you all know, is very close to the accounting office, like practically next door. So, I will give you the opportunity here. I'll give you two choices. You can choose to explore the library and take your chances at the office next, or I can give you the opportunity to go to the office, but I get to pick the next room you go to.
You're hurting me, Grant. The idea of not exploring the library hurts me.
Office. it hurts, but office.
Florence, you're the tiebreaker.
Yep.
The office.
That's fair.
In the immortal words of Lala Lemon, as played by Mika on The Heart of the Dungeon, Caw. Welcome to the middle of the episode. I'm here to tell you about cool podcasts and things that are happening that you should be aware of, starting with our friends over at Encores and Ability Scores.
Hello, musical theater nerds. Have you ever wished you could explore more of your favorite musical, talk to the characters, and maybe even change the ending? Welcome to Encores and Ability Scores. Each week, for your listening pleasure, our cast of intrepid thespians mash up a new musical with the sword and sorcery world of Dungeons & Dragons. We believe that the magic of musicals doesn't have to end when the curtain goes down, so we take it to the tabletop. We are a live play D&D podcast with new episodes out on Mondays. You can find us on social media at D&D Musical Pod, that's DND Musical Pod, or wherever you get your podcasts.
If you know two things about me, it's you know that I'm incredibly picky about D&D podcasts and musical theater, and Encores and Ability Scores are great at both. It's a very fun treat to hear these very familiar stories reframed in this context. The casts are all fantastic. They're very funny, have a great grasp on the original story they're telling and its shortcomings, and work to overcome them. I mean, listen to this. They've already done Legally Blonde, Wicked, Sweeney Todd, Cats, Shrek, and they're currently doing a chorus line, which, in my humble opinion, is their best one yet. Maybe I spent like a whole weekend binging this show because I got really excited about it. So what? Sue me. You're not my dad. Next up, our new friends over at Interrogation.
Hello, and welcome to Interrogation, where guidance will always find you when you need it. I am your guide, and today I'm joined by...
I am Eli.
I'm Grant Nordine.
It's Basil.
Tell us a little bit about who we're going to be talking to today.
We're going to be talking to Ig.
Alouette Belair.
We're going to meet Erla.
This would be a good time to actually get into the reading, and they're going to turn over the Ace of Wands, the reverse Seven of Coins, the Wheel of Fortune. Goblins and Gaze presents Interrogation, where we learn about a character's story and read some cards for them to see what their past, present, or future may entail. You can find us everywhere online at Interrogate or wherever you listen to your podcast. Guidance will always find you, whether you like it or not.
I'm not going to spoil too much about Interrogation because I know a lot about Interrogation, but suffice it to say, this is the most creative TTRPG interview podcast I've ever heard or been a part of. That's hosted by our friend Dusty Hill. It's coming soon, so very soon. So be sure you're subscribing and following that pod wherever you enjoy podcasts. It's gonna be a good one. And lastly, I want to take a brief moment to tell you about the next Game Master Monday miniseries. It's called Hell Whalers, and I wish I could tell you more about it, but quite frankly, at the time of me talking to you now, we haven't recorded it yet, so I don't have a fun little ad to play for you yet. I don't have the voices. I don't want to go too far into the cast just yet, but I can give you a general vibe of what it'll feel like.
After this manner therefore pray, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth, as it is in heaven.
So, yeah, get excited for that fun time. And now, without further ado, I bring you back into the haunted halls of Rafenheim.
As the trio are walking, Josiah turns to Abigail and says, "Were you using abacus as a magical incantation?"
I was just trying to think of things that accountants use.
Ah. It sounded as if you were substituting it for abracadabra.
I mean, maybe it could work. I put my hand on the doorknob, abacus, and I opened the door.
And there's the office. Welcome to the office, a room for business dealings that none of you would have ever been given privy to before, besides Josiah. Several folders sit organized on a large shelf. A locked safe is tucked neatly under the desk, and a single spinning chair is facing the wall.
Can I just establish that I have a key that my friend gave me?
Oh, to get into the office? Yeah, for sure.
No, to the locked cabinet
to the locked safe?
Yes.
A locked safe tucked neatly under the desk? You want a key for that?
Yes.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you your courteous die back. If you can roll higher than a 4, I'll give you a key.
Right.
You have to have been courteous to this accountant.
That's a 5.
You have a key. You reach in your pocket, and though you have no memory of your accountant friend giving you a key to the safe, the key to the safe is in your pocket. And I like to remind the audience that a 5 is a mixed success. We'll see what happens.
Well, the safe isn't going to open itself, and I open the safe.
It contains Corvina's birth certificate. On it, you see the name of her mother, Ava, but the father is listed as nothing. Inside this little safe next to the birth certificate is a crow in a nest.
Pulling out the birth certificate, I look at it and read it and I chuckle. Corvina, keeping secrets from me. You always were a strange bird.
The crow looks up like, what?
I'm looking over Josiah's shoulder on my tippy toes.
Yeah.
Maybe she didn't know either?
Or maybe she just recently found out.
Possible.
Maybe we're in more trouble now that we know.
More trouble? A maid is dead. Murder is, threatening murder. How much more trouble? Oh, and...
Maybe the maid knew.
Nonetheless, a maid is dead. The castle is a twisting puzzle. And murder is threatening murder. I'm not sure how much more trouble we can be in.
How long has that crow been in there?
The crow shrugs.
It's real dark. You can't tell if it's day or night.
Well, you have the birth certificate. You've cracked the safe. Anything else you want to do while you're in the office?
Is there any... I'm just gonna do a quick cursory scan for any, like, letters, diaries. I feel like I'm... Wherever there's maybe letters and diaries, I'm looking for them.
May I direct your attention to the several folders that are organized in this office?
Yeah! Would love to put my attention on those.
Yeah, you can make a curious roll for me.
Great.
I'm going to pull out a small packet of coins to leave in a secret hiding place that I typically leave for my friend here.
As is tradition.
Yes.
12.
12, a fantastic roll if I do say so myself.
I'm very curious.
You are very curious. So you start opening the folders. And the first thing that would cross your brain is, why is every single folder empty? But the more you look at these folders and the more you open them, you see a little path of crow's feet scattered on the insides of all of the folder. And the more you look at those folders with your whopping success and not mixed at all, I'll give it to you for free, those crow's feet, if you just look at them in just the right way, it almost looks like it's forming a trail. So you keep pulling folder after folder after folder, organizing these crow's feet into a pathway leading to one final folder.
I open the folder.
There is an unopened letter written for Josiah.
I snatch it.
I give it to her. A letter snatch.
Florence is peeping over her shoulder, just like making sure she has eyes on if Josiah opens it. She wants to see it, what it says.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Yes. Josiah opens the letter and kind of waves as if to shoo the others, but doesn't actually shoo them off.
Yeah, they're both just staring at you like, what's in it? Very tell me more from Greece right now. You open the letter, and it reads, "What do you want with me, Josiah? I see you in the garden. I see you in our halls. Often I feel I see you in my dreams, but not speaking. I am preparing this note for your father, so we may meet face to face and speak as we once did. Please, you haunt me, and I must know why." It is unsigned.
Oh, dang. Do I recognize the handwriting?
You can make a courageous roll.
Can I brood?
I picked courageous specifically so you would brood about it.
Josiah holds the letter close and scrutinizes the handwriting, pulls the letter to her face to see if she can detect any scent of perfume or anything like that. She feels like she must know who this is, and she is hopeful even though it would break her heart. She wants to know desperately, and yet she doesn't want to know as well. 11.
You do not recognize the handwriting. I will tell you, you specifically know this is not Corvina's handwriting, but it does smell like hers. Like her perfume, like her essence. It has a familiar scent to it, but it was not written by her hand.
Me out of character. Maybe the crows wrote it for her because she didn't want to confess her feelings.
Do I remember seeing her ever dictate letters?
Do a courteous roll for me, but pine.
She holds the note even closer and trying desperately to remember, but also wanting to cast this letter into a furnace. That is 5.
A mixed success.
Yes.
Your memory fails you. You don't remember her ever writing a letter in your presence. But Florence, being her most trusted handmaiden, the servant she had the most relationship with, also sees your letter, also knows this isn't Corvina's handwriting. And with a mixed success, I'm going to tell Florence, you also don't remember if she dictated letters or not.
I mean, I know that's not her handwriting, but it's just my memory evades me on it. She would ever...
You feel like you should know that you must have seen something at some point, but it's being blocked from you, and you hear that crow almost chuckling in the safe.
Do you hear the crow laughing? Is that just me?
Do we hear the crow laughing?
Yeah, it's a crow. It's calling out loud.
Okay.
To some people, it might sound like laughter. To some people, it might sound like a bird.
Can I try to reminisce in this room, seeing that like I am losing my memory clearly on this very simple thing, so I want to try to ask the estate. I ask, "Oh, great estate, who wrote this letter? Or at the least, who is Corvina's father?"
I will answer the second question.
Oh.
And in answering the second question, I'm going to call upon the deal we made by choosing the office because I choose the next room you go to. And the answer to that question can potentially be found in the cemetery. As the answer comes to you, you are thrust out of the office, a whirlwind around you, and you appear in the cemetery behind Rafenheim Manor. The cemetery houses Ravenheim's past. Long rows of beloved cousins, ancestors, and the recently departed cover the grounds. And atop each grave, each headstone, stands a crow. The only two names that this group would recognize here are Corvina Rafenheim, who is housed in the most elaborate tomb, and Norman Blackthistle, a relative of the Rafenheim family and husband to Florence. Florence, there is a flower at Norman's grave that appears to have been placed there recently.
Do I remember if I did it?
You don't. But you can tell it's from the garden, which you know is dead as shit.
Yeah.
As they are swept to this graveyard in a whirlwind, Josiah shoves the letter in her skirt pocket, and seeing more crows, damned crows.
Crows all turn to look at you.
I don't think they like it when you say mean things about them, even if they are.
Corvina didn't like it either.
Is there a grave for Ava?
I'm going to tell you that there isn't. Ava is not buried in the cemetery.
Okay.
Interesting.
What about, is there a way that these graves are arranged that we can figure out either, like, that 12-fingered guy or whoever Corvina's father might be? I'm sorry, I'm entering analytical wizard mode.
Good. Make a curious roll.
Yeah. 2 for a 6.
A mixed success. You find, so you're combing through everything, trying to figure out if there's a grave that stands out. And there is one. There is an unmarked grave.
Okay.
And this is the only grave without a crow atop it.
I was about to be like, can I crouch down and be like, ask the crow who is this? But no, there's no crow. Okay.
It's an unmarked grave, and I call it an unmarked grave because as you're combing through everything, there's this plot of land, has no tombstone. Clearly, there should be one here because the gap is wide enough between two other tombs, and this ground be lumpy. So, like, it just feels like something's buried here, but there's nothing indicating that.
Florence would like to start digging around it.
Cool. Have fun.
Well then.
Inside the unmarked grave is a skeleton with 12 fingers. But on that mixed success from earlier, the moment you open that coffin, all of the crows in the graveyard start swarming around you, blocking your vision, in your face, cawing incessantly, dulling your senses.
Florence just tries to, like, calmly, not to harm the crows at all, but just, like, swat them away and try to, like, lead them elsewhere.
You can make a courteous roll for the crows.
Okay, I will do that. And that is 4, 5, 6, 7.
A mixed success. The crows know you, Florence, and they brush off of you. They understand the relationship you had with their former master. The other two, who've been very antagonistic towards him today, they're still around you guys.
I haven't been antagonistic, I've just been scared.
Antagonistic and fearful, negative vibes, what have you,
that's
they're
fair,
still
that's
swarming
fair.
around you. But that does leave Florence open to check out that skeleton.
I crouch down and use my outer skirt to shield my face.
I try to, as I'm crouching down to check out the skelly, I'll be just politely shoo him away. Pretend like there's something else that's catching their attention. And I'm gonna look at the skeleton.
I'm gonna just try it, I'm also, I have a shawl that I've kind of, wrapped around the top of my head, like a little old lady putting a rain bonnet on. But I'm I know Corvina really liked you, and I'm sorry. I'm gonna just kind of crouch down next to Josiah. Just, slowly lowering myself down as I say these things.
As you two have, Afraid of Crows bonding time, it's just a little girl chat in a sea of crows. Florence, looking at the skeleton, is going to reveal a key in the shape of a crow.
Of course. Do I get any sense of where this could go to?
Yes. All of the more elaborate tombs that are built for the Rafenheim family come with a key to enter it.
Oh.
And there's one Rafenheim in particular who is fond of crows.
Interesting. Are the crows still around the other two? Have they?
They still are. Nothing has dissuaded them, but they see you grab the crow key, and they don't scatter, but they all stop flying.
The two of you quickly come towards me.
Okay. I do that.
Yeah. Without removing my outer skirt from my face, I waddle over.
We're gonna slowly back up and see what happens. Essentially, I want to back up very slowly into towards Corvina's grave site.
Of course.
Florence, I trust you with my life.
I don't.
The crows do, though. The crows are just standing by watching. They're not guarding anything anymore. They're watching Florence specifically. You open the tomb. Corvina's tomb contains her decaying body, two mummified crows locked together by their talons, a jewelry box, a handkerchief with Corvina's initials, and a book titled Rebecca, and a sealed letter.
I snatched the letter.
I was gonna say, you put a sealed letter in front of me, I'm gonna have to open it, bestie.
Had a feeling. The letter has no name addressed to it. It is just a letter that is sealed.
Yeah. I open it.
You
read
open
it. Yes.
The letter reads, "Dearest Aunt, that manor is no place for you. You deserve the world and are forced to settle for those wretched halls. Please come out to our estate tomorrow. You would be welcomed and safe at last. I simply will not take no for an answer." And it has no signature.
Once again, more questions than answers.
Do I have any
Corvina?
cousins or siblings?
You tell me.
Oh. I feel like I'm at least the eldest of my family. I feel like I either have younger siblings or I don't have any. But cousins.
Want to gamble for it?
Sure. I like to roll.
Make a courteous roll.
Okay. I'm gonna pine about this because if I do have a relative that might have been closer to her than I was, because I always just felt like it wasn't my place to send a letter and ask her to come visit, and oh dear, that's an 8.
Mixed success.
Oh wait, I get to add one because I did pine. That's a 10.
Success. I give you full control of the narrative of this letter. Here are your options. I am giving you control because you succeeded the roll. And that's the nature of this manner. So you get to decide if you have a family member who would have invited Corvina, if this has nothing to do with you, or if it has everything to do with you. What does your memory recall?
God, I have to go for the dramatic part here, and I, as Rosalie, do not know what this means.
Okay.
But I have to go with the dramatic thing and say I don't know that I have any other relatives that would think of her as an aunt. It just, I feel like it doesn't make sense, like, for the story, like, being like, oh, it's a cousin that I don't really hang out with, that doesn't make sense to me.
So here's what I'll remind you of.
Yeah.
You have seen the Rafenheim line of heirs.
Yeah.
You saw your own name on it, and you also know that this person for the 12 fingers was remembered by Florence, so they couldn't have existed a long time ago.
Yeah.
So the pool of aunties that Corvina would have is relatively low.
Yeah.
But the question is, do you remember writing this letter?
I definitely don't. I definitely do not.
There you go.
I spend a lot of time reading and writing letters, but they're to gentlemen and ladies of my own age.
Logically, you know that the people who call her auntie are slim. You're the only person you know of that would do that. Your memory does not give you the information you're looking for.
Why is it in her grave?
Do Josiah and I kind of put it together that out of the three of us, at least, Abigail would be the only one that would call her aunt or auntie?
On a mixed success, I'll give you that.
Okay.
Definitely.
Number one, why is it in her grave? And number two, what does she need to be kept safe from?
As Abigail is clearly spiraling, Florence leans over to Josiah. How do we feel about Abigail?
Are you suggesting that she may have had something to do with Corvina's death?
I mean, maybe not willingly, or I don't know, stranger things are happening over here. I don't really know what to believe anymore, but what I do know is that out of the three of us, she is the only one that would call her auntie. And it's quite suspicious that we found a letter in her grave.
She's a daft girl, but it's a letter. I don't see the significance in Corvina's death. We'll get no more answers from Corvina's dead body.
It is confirmed
Right.
that is her dead body, though.
Yes, you
Okay.
recognize the corpse.
Just making sure.
All right, Josiah, you led the charge to leave. Roll 2d6.
Yes. 3.
Ah, okay. You have found the dining room. At long last.
Finally! Let's get some hospitality here.
The chefs have been dismissed and the kitchen has become inaccessible. A lone, undecorated dining room table that at one point could fit up to 40 guests now lies naked and bare in front of you, with the exception of one unfinished turkey dinner that 3 crows are pecking at.
I'll let them have that one.
I just remembered that the chef was missing as well.
Well, that's a wing, so we know that's not a people. People don't have wings.
I think after a quick glance around, I sigh. Let's keep going. I doubt we'll find much of anything here.
Before we leave, can Florence remember from talking with the other servants, just like any hidden areas within this vast dining hall?
Make a curious roll for me.
Okay. 6.
Mixed success. If you listen close enough in this room, you can hear a faint voice behind the wreckage of the door to the kitchen.
Do you hear that? shh, 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 do you hear that? And like, kind of goes towards that sound and tells them, just like points at here, right here. Listen to this area.
In the kitchen. They said there was nobody in there. Can we try to get through the door?
Yeah. Make a courageous roll.
Grant, you're killing me here.
Not yet.
Not yet! Yeah, my courageous roll was a 2.
Okay, with a 2, you try and push against the wreckage, and it quickly becomes apparent how immovable these heavy objects are. Like, someone barricaded this area. They don't want anyone getting through. The crows stop eating their dinner and watch you fail.
Is there any glassware on the table or around?
I'm gonna give you no.
Okay.
That faint voice becomes less faint and goes, "Oh my god, is someone here?"
Yes, who are you?
Chef Emily!
Chef Emily, yes, is the door barricaded from your side?
I can't get out. I've been trapped in here for days.
Surely there are windows for ventilation, right?
Not in this room. I can't get out. I don't know what's going on.
Not in the kitchen?
Everything's different now. Someone did not want me to get out of here. All I remember is I made that turkey, which is the final meal I made when Corvina was still around. I went to the funeral. I went back to the kitchen to prepare something. I found this toxic substance in the kitchen. I alerted murder to it, and then he barricaded me in here when I went to go return it. At least I assume it was him. No one else knew about it. Who else would lock me in here?
I suppose that's when his fit started.
I would like to turn to the crows and make a declaration.
Do it.
I'm sorry. I'm scared of you. You are very scary, and I feel like you should be more proud of that than embarrassed of that. That is not an insult. You are very noble birds, and I think Emily has all the evidence we need to get justice for Corvina's death, and I know at the very least she loved you and she took care of you. And I don't know if crows love back, but I feel like you did. And I'm sorry you unnerve me. I just don't know you. Can you please help us get Emily out of here?
So the crows all kind of look at each other, and they look back at Emily, and they're little guys. There's just 3 of them. It's a lot of wreckage and destruction. But the 3 of them do nod, flutter to the door of the dining room, and open it for you.
Thank you. I still think you're spooky, but maybe we can get along.
They are loyal.
They all nod and kind of gesture with their wing out the door.
Horrifying. Okay.
Scariest thing that has happened all night.
We go.
Chef Emily, are you all right, dear?
I've lasted this long, I suppose.
Is there any tea?
Emily just kind of like, you can't see her, but you can almost feel like a blank stare piercing through the rubble. And she's like, "No, dear, there's no tea. And even if there were, how could I provide it?"
I think we have to keep going, but is there like it feels weird to take a whole plate of pecked at turkey with us, but I have a feeling that this food was poisoned.
You can bring it. It's unattended to now. The crows abandoned it.
God, I wish I had like a to-go box or something. Feels weird just walking out of here with a full plate, but
Don't mind me.
I mean, we were looking for evidence. I think this might be evidence, you guys.
Possibly.
Is there any way
Okay.
for us to see, like, if the food has been tampered with?
Ooh, sure.
It should have been sitting there for
Why-
like 11 days, and I feel like it hasn't expired, and that should be proof in itself.
Yeah, well, the crows are pecking at a piece of meat that you learned was cooked 11 days ago, and there's also a toxic substance floating around here somewhere. So, I'll give you it for free. Yeah, that meat's probably not safe to eat, Nomo. I'm not going to confirm if it's poisoned or not. If you want to make a curious roll, you can look into that, but...
Sure, I'll make a curious roll. Do I still get the +1 from believing, being compelled by Abigail?
I say yes.
Excellent. Not bad. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Not bad indeed. Pretty good, even. As you go and you dig through the turkey, the crows allowing you to do so, you see nothing besides the ravages of age to a piece of meat. It's gross to touch. There's insects inside of it. It's a decaying piece of meat. Great for a crow to eat, but you don't see anything that you would call a toxic substance added artificially.
Okay, we'll leave that for the crows then.
Dang it, so close. I feel we're just right there.
Ah,
feel like it's
maybe,
right in
maybe,
front of us.
maybe just one more room. Just one more room.
Hopefully there's an exit. I don't think that we're any closer. I don't think there is an answer. Onward.
Onward.
You arrive in a study. To be specific, Murder's study.
Oh, of course.
Murder's study is a grim sight, a room decorated by a madman. Candlelight burns like the fires of Hades in here. Lunatic scrawlings adorn ripped shreds of papers and books nailed to a wall. Look at them only if you can muster the courage.
I do.
Same.
I do very nervously. I'm bad.
Okay. Anyone who wants to read must pass a courageous roll.
All right, yes. I would like to brood.
Yeah, but great room to brood in.
Yes.
Practically reeks of brooding in here.
I am infuriated that my dear friend Corvina has died. That her father is going mad and has accused us of murder.
Her father?
Well,
Yeah.
I am exceedingly angry that I cannot find an exit. I want to wash my hands of this whole mess and return home to reminisce about the good times that I had with Corvina instead of dealing with the nonsense here. That's a 20.
What the fuck? Okay, well, great. Two choices. You can examine the walls or you can examine the room.
The walls.
The walls have the names of the people you have spoken to or seen here today. You see names and faces and carvings all over these walls. It also reveals your names, your faces, potentially your motives. So hanging on the walls, you see a name, Charles Allen. Motive, ungrateful imp. You see a picture of a woman whose face you don't recognize, not even a name given to it. It just reads, "The maid, too curious." It shows Chef Emily, known deceiver, has poison. It shows Florence, with the motive listed as jealous of the living. It shows Abigail, with only 2 words written, heir, envious. And of course, your name, Josiah. And to be quite frank, you are given the most unflattering of all the portraits. But your inscription reads, "Cold, haunted eyes."
This is ridiculous. Complete and utter nonsense. The man has lost it. If anyone murdered Corvina, he did.
I only got a 3. I'm like, is there a crow in here?
A picture of a crow is propped up looking the most respected, with a motive under it that simply reads, "Watching." No crows are in this room, but I'm going to come back to your roll in a second. Did you roll anything, Destiny, for Courageous?
I did. I got a 9.
On a mixed success, you examine the room, and it feels like there's a lot of anxiety and dread infecting this room. Like you only have mere moments to... You're not sure. Live, escape, solve the mystery, but you do see one thing. A journal.
I pick up the journal.
Opening the journal reveals the writings that Murder has started inputting into it over the past 11 days. He's filled an entire book. And the first name you see in the journal is Nothing Rafenheim. You read in the journal that Murder discovered that this person, the 12-fingered man, had an affair with his wife, leading to the birth of Corvina. You also read over the past 11 days since discovering this information, Murder pushed the maid off the balcony after she came to check on him, causing him to think he may be losing his mind. He writes as such in his journal that he's afraid he's being turned to madness since shoving her off the balcony. He writes down that none of the servants must know that he killed the maid whose name he cannot remember, and he forbids them from serving him or leaving certain areas of the house. There's a note written in here that doesn't mean anything to you currently, but he does not recall hiring a librarian. He just notes there's a librarian now, and he's not sure where she came from. He also writes down that he thinks the birds are watching him, and then he writes the final piece of truth that he can remember about his past, and it's that nothing simply disappeared. He's not responsible for that. This he knows with certainty. And as you read that last line, before you can even react, on the failure, Murder enters the study.
Oh no.
I gave you full luxury to my home, and you invade my solitude like this.
You just literally said you gave us full to the house. Includes
This
place.
room is forbidden. I locked it away. How did you enter this room?
How did we get into any room?
The damn crows.
If you are wanting to catch who did this to Corvino, the crows are on your side.
The crows just watch.
And they saw what happened, didn't they?
Perfect witness to a crime, I suppose. One that can't speak. Your time is up, unfortunately. The sun is rising, and I demand a name. You know the risks should you fail to produce one. You will meet me in the foyer. You will reveal the killer, and they will be executed. and then you will leave, never to return again.
Why should we go to the foyer to give you a name?
Failure to do so will lead to your imminent deaths. It has been arranged.
I mean that why don't we give you a name here and now?
I want it announced in front of the entire mansion. The servants must see it, must bear witness, the crows must bear witness.
Fine then.
You will meet me in 5 minutes. As soon as the sun is in the sky, I will know who took my daughter away. He slams the door behind him.
I think he already does.
He killed her.
It's clearly him, right?
He killed her, didn't? Obviously. Is there a way out of this room?
He closed the door behind him. The implication here is once you leave this room, you'll be in the foyer.
Yeah. She's looking around to see if there's a window to just bypass the whole thing.
I'll give you it for free. This is a madman's office.
Mm-hmm.
No
windows. Nope. Okay.
Yeah, working all day without any sunshine will do that to you.
I'd like to ask the estate 2 last questions.
What a great move to make. Yeah, do it.
Yeah, this is perfect.
I think while we're trying to figure out, Florence is kind of gonna ask the estate quietly. Great estate. Did murder? Or is it one of these 2?
I'll answer the first question. The estate shakes violently. Shelves are shaking in here, books falling off of things. And in a secret alcove behind where a mirror would be to like keep himself straight, but that's one that's been cracked and thrown off the wall, a small alcove is revealed. And you see a small little slab, a tiny candle lit next to it, a small portrait of Corvina. The stone looks like it's been soaked over the past however long, possibly with tears, possibly with something else. This is a room dedicated solely for Murder to lay on top of a stone slab and weep and mourn the loss of this daughter. He's been keeping it secret, but he's clearly been using it, and using it frequently and recently. The thing that becomes abundantly clear when you ask, did Murder commit the crime? Did he murder Corvina? Regardless of if he did it or not, that's up for you to decide. But it is clear he loved her.
So, our time is almost up.
Though this room has no windows, you do see the reflection of the sun coming through the little tiny door windows. When doors have the glass on top of them that lets light come through. Tiny bit of that is coming through, and the door opens by itself for you to exit.
You have no choice.
So we think that he did it?
I think so.
And which one of us will state as much in front of him? He is sure to lash out when the truth is revealed. I will then.
I think Josiah has the most courage to do it.
You return to the foyer, day 12. The servants you have spoken to are here. Chef Emily has been dragged out of her kitchen looking malnourished, but she is here. And Murder stands atop the banisters of the staircase of the foyer. Crows, every crow you have seen today is in attendance. almost sitting like attendees at a funeral, behind you all blocking the door. And Murder puts his nails on the edges of it. He's gripping at it. You see scratch marks on the railings. And he goes, "Who did it? You may now accuse or confess, but I need a name."
Are you sure?
Give it to me now, or I'll execute every last one of you.
Fine then. We have searched as much of this cursed place as we could. And in everything that we have seen, we are as certain as we could be of anyone that you murder. If anyone killed Corvina, it was you.
There is a fire in his eyes. Not a literal one, but you could swear that you could see hellfire in his eyes. And you have stumbled upon the only accusation you can make in this game that requires a courageous roll.
Alright, let's go.
Godspeed.
Yeah. That is a 14.
Ooh!
A success. A resounding one. He ungrips the banister. He starts running down the stairs at the speed that you can only call of a man possessed by some unnameable demon. He's reaching out his hand to grab you specifically, Josiah. And then the crows all rise from their seated positions. They flock around him. They squawk an ungodly sound. They surround him entirely, and before you can even hear a scream, you hear a small sound as of glass clattering to the ground. The crows disperse, and only the undigestible fingernails of Murder Rafenheim are left behind. No bones, no skeleton, no muscles, no trace that he even existed. The doors all unlock, the windows all become unblinded, the servants all look at each other and book it out the front door, running far away from this place, never to come back to it. And then the house starts to shake and crumble. You see bricks, loosening chandeliers falling. What do you do?
My dears, I think it is time to find our escape. And
No. Estate? I'm Abigail.
Daft girl, come on.
I'm Abigail Rappenheim.
You see a flock of crows all surround you now, Abigail. And they're all looking at you with anticipation.
Murder did murder, and nothing isn't here anymore, and Corvina's gone, but everybody else can still be here, right?
Make a final courteous roll.
I have pined my whole life to be the head of an estate just like Corvina.
Felt right. It felt right to do this one.
Okay. I actually did not make courteous my best. Holy shit, that's a good holy fuck. The dice tell the story, besties. That's a 15.
The manor stops shaking.
A lot of people would be out of job if this place crumbled to pieces.
Yeah, as you say that, you still see all the servants like running for the hills. None of them are coming back.
Yeah,
the only servant who has deigned to stay is Florence.
Oh, they're gonna say Charles?
Oh no, Charles.
I fully thought you were also going to say Charles.
No, Charles is on Indeed as we
We're going
speak.
to give
He's
Charles
gone.
a retirement package.
Charles is 26.
I want to retire at 26 too.
Yeah,
Abigail, dear, I believe you will need to hire new staff.
Do you know how to prune?
Yes. I did read a gardening manual once. We were talking about talking to the plants. I read about it in there.
Yes, excellent. Florence will stay.
We pan away from Rafenheim Estate. Rumors and legends and stories will always be told of this night. How Murder Rafenheim, a mere 12 days after his daughter's passing, mysteriously disappeared and a new heir to Rafenheim Manor was established. How Josiah Hawksworth started visiting the manor more often. How only one servant stayed and new ones were established. How the manor underwent severe renovations to make the damn hallways and rooms make some fucking sense.
We're getting rid of that portrait hall.
But
Yeah.
in all the stories and all the legends and all the tales, no one ever truly knew what really happened to Corvina Rafenheim. And perhaps that's for the best. And that's Rafenheim.
Spooky.
What a game!
Spooky!
I adore the absolute shit out of this system and this cast. Rafenheim is made by our wonderful friend Tay Lyons. A link to purchase this game is in the episode description. You absolutely should. 'Tis the season for it. Destiny, thank you for playing with us here today. Where can we find more of you?
Thanks for having me. You can hear more of me on This Could Get Dicey. This Could Get Dicey is an actual play D&D podcast where myself and 3 other longtime buds get to unwind from their 9-to-5s and step into the world of Drew Gala, which is a completely homebrewed world that our GM made up. All the music that we have on there is also original. Our adventure follows a mutant, a vampire, and a bard touched by dark magic. We have episodes every Wednesday, with the last Wednesday of the month kind of like dedicated to a little reoccurring talk show that we do that goes over just more of the RP world and TTRPG community. And then sometimes we also play one-shot TTRPG systems. And you can find us anywhere you stream podcasts.
I love This Could Get Dicey. One of my favorite finds from this year. I'm so glad we got to link up and do the show together here. Definitely check them out. Rosie, where can we find more of you?
Hi, my name is Rosalie. Again, you can call me Rosie for short or whatever you'd like. I love nicknames as long as it's a nice nickname. You can find me on all my social media at Rosatyrs. That's ROSATYRS, like Rosie and the little goatful. Can you smush them together and you get Rosatyrs? I'm kind of all over the place now, which is wild. Primarily, you can find me on Tabletop Tailspinners Network. I am a cast member on a podcast called Magnificence, which is a dark fantasy Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign where I play Sage, who is a wizard and a bitch. I'm also currently, at the time this is posted in October of 2024, every other Friday we are streaming Monsters and Other Childish Things on the Tabletop Tailspinners Twitch channel. And I play an 8-year-old in that. That's fun. Let me see here. What else am I doing when this is coming out? I am on the Real Gobsite Twitch channel playing Pathfinder 2nd Edition on Thursday nights. We're playing Crosshaven. First time playing Pathfinder, a lot of live stream, so that's exciting. Hope I don't mess up. We haven't started at the time we're recording this. Check that out too. Just go to my socials. You'll find all the stuff I'm in there. Also, go watch Camp Meadowview. That ended a while ago, but it's on the Game Master Monday YouTube, and it's a treasure, and I treasure the experience, and I'm literally just a girl, so go watch that.
Seems to be a habit of yours, playing literally just a girl,
What can I say? I have a type.
Hey, listen, one of the best in the biz. I'd put Rosie in everything if I could. Sadie, where can we find more of you?
Hi. You can find me all over the internet. Username is usually Oakleaf Insignia. You can find my games on itch, same username, Oakleaf Insignia. I'm also the marketing director for Unbalanced Encounters.
Sadie, just one of a class act, one of my absolute faves. It's so glad you could come on for this. I adored every minute of this. I, of course, am your Game Master, Grant. You always know where to find me on Game Master Monday, all the socials. And hey, why not? How about a self-plug? Starting this week, I'll be guest GMing on Roleplay Retcon. You should go check that out. I'm remaking The Longest Yard because I'm an insane person. So come on down and hear the TTRP veification TTRPG-ification of an Adam Sandler movie that sucks. And otherwise...
Don't they all?
Yeah, we're doing play ball for that system, and I'm very excited about it. But apart from that, the next time you hear my voice on this channel will be for our upcoming mini-series, Hell Whalers. And I can't wait to get started on that.
I'm so excited to hear it.
Me too. As for the rest of y'all, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Bye!
Contains Florence's decaying body, 2 mummified crows locked together by their talons, a jewelry box, a handkerchief with Florence's... Not Florence's.
I was
with,
going to say, you said
you're
Florence's
not,
I was like, what?
You said Florence's
Did I
body
say Florence's
at the beginning,
body?
and I was like,
Yes.
I've been saying...
fuck?
Let's start over. Florence, you are not dead. I have not Silent Hilled you.
I mean, that would
Big-
be a very interesting
Big twist. We're in the Sixth Sense, and Florence is dead the whole time.
That was dead the whole time.
When you said you were cooking on this one,
wow.
you were not kidding.
I have Corvina's name written here, but I said Florence so much in that scene that it just stayed in my mouth. Okay.
Ah.
Corvina's tomb.